Hello.
All right. Well, it would be amiss or remiss. I don't know which one it is if I didn't start with the intro instead of waiting 15 minutes in. So with that being said, I know we're the Greater Mythos podcast, a very unorganized podcast where we talk about video games, movies, comic books, TV shows. I think we've talked about all those at some point.
Yes.
But yeah. I'm Josh. You're Josh. We're here yet again. And we had some fun issues with technology, but we're awake and alive, and we're here. Later, a late night for us, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. And normally I have World of Warcraft raid at this time.
Yes.
But we killed the final boss on the highest
You told
difficulty
me that.
finally, and it was exciting, and we were happy. But that also means that I don't have to raid on Thursdays for like the next couple weeks, maybe month.
Next couple weeks, what are you going to do with yourself?
I don't know. 2 podcasts at a later time.
Oh my gosh. Here, okay, be honest with me. So you killed the boss. You guys put in what I can imagine is hours of dedication, work, practice, thumb exercises. I don't know what you do. But so you killed the boss.
Mhm.
Was there any celebratory dances involved? Some of the Fortnite variety. What was the aftermath of that situation?
So, well, it was exciting. A lot of roaring into the mics and everyone
Okay.
going deaf at the same time. And
Going deaf at the same time, you say?
well, yeah, I mean, we were all screaming into the mics, and so our
Wonderful.
ears were not too happy, but the rest of our bodies were happy. Adrenaline rush,
Oh my.
and it's exciting. I mean, we've been trying to kill this one boss for over a month because it's just that difficult. 20 people have to do everything flawlessly to kill it, and I don't know, it's difficult, but it's exciting. It's fun. It gives you a rush, and that's why we do it. So
I'm glad. And I'm pretty sure I might have asked this question several episodes back when we talked about, the MMOs and stuff, but how drastically different do these bosses vary? Because it's World of Warcraft specifically, right? That's what you're on.
yeah.
And so I'm pretty sure that there's a plethora of bosses that you go through.
Mhm.
And again, you've probably told me, but there's different bosses that have different like environmental damage and things like that. So what made this one pretty intense?
So this one's difficult because it's very, very long. And the same restrictions that you have on every boss still apply. So if someone dies, you can bring them back, use like a resurrection spell or whatever, but you only have a limited amount of those you can use. So the longer the fight, which is just more chances for someone to die, which means, well, you can't bring them back. And if you don't have everyone alive, that's less damage on the boss. And after a certain point, if you don't have the damage, you just die. This particular boss was difficult because it's all about managing the room. So the boss will drop stuff on the ground, like a pool of stuff you don't want to stand in, or it's bad, does damage to you.
Acid of sorts?
Right, yeah. And it'll keep
Icky goo?
yeah, and it'll drop a lot of them, and it continues to happen throughout the fight. And so that just means that part of the room is no longer usable, so you have to move to another part. Well, after about 10 or 11 minutes of doing this, there's not much room left. And once that last set of puddles go out, everyone dies anyway. So you have like a set time limit, and you need everyone alive to meet the damage check, which just means to kill the boss before that last bit of room is gone. So it's very...
Go ahead.
It's just very difficult and very numbers focused. You got to make sure you have the numbers to kill the boss.
So for some reason, and I'm not saying these are the same thing, but I'm having flashbacks to like my, if I can even call it, tenure with the Destiny games and doing some of those raids. And I know they're different and stuff. In your squad, your posse that you do these things with, is there a specific? You don't have to name names. Is there a specific person and or persons that are the, they're going down first and it's not intentional kind of thing? As in, do they suck and you're prepared to res them over and over again?
Well, everyone has...
Because I was that guy. That's why I'm asking.
So to your first point, yeah, it's very similar. Destiny definitely took some inspiration from big MMOs like World of Warcraft and EverQuest and these big games with their raids. Because even though it's a shooter, so it has a different gameplay. You're not like moving with WASD and clicking ability, whatever you're doing in WoW. And in that game, it's first person. I think it's first person, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. See, I've only played a little bit of Destiny, but yeah, it's
free.
it's different in that way. But the overarching theme is the same. You're working in a group of people, usually larger than in like a Destiny raid. You're more than just a couple people, right? It's like 8 or something, I think.
Six or eight, I think, because I think a fire team in Destiny is 3 people.
Yeah, so it's more than that first set of group. It's like a higher
Hmm.
size, and it's the same with World of Warcraft. I mean, you have either you're playing solo, or you're playing in a group of 5, which is a party, or you're playing in a group of anywhere from 10 to 40, which is called a raid.
Is there a cap? You probably told me this too. Is 40 the cap, or can you have more?
So in the entire game, the hard cap is 40, but every certain difficulties have different kind of soft caps. I guess it's kind of a hard cap too. For Mythic, which is the hardest difficulty, you can only have 20.
Hmm.
And the boss is designed for 20. So if you have less than that, you're probably not going to kill the boss. Some bosses are on the easier side on Mythic sometimes, so you could probably get away with less. Nobody ever does, though. So you want 20. The easier difficulties, like heroic and normal, are flexible. So the bosses scale with how many players you bring in, so it doesn't matter. And I think games like Destiny, they're designed specifically for that higher number. Like,
Yeah, yeah. With Destiny, and again, my I was gonna say campaign with Destiny. I'm not sure if that makes sense either. I got the first one. I got it on
mhm.
day one. 360. I was there. I had 2 other friends that got it with me. And my memory is failing me with the first one, but obviously the second one's a little bit more recent. The raids and the bosses. Not that this is mind blowing information, but they were very much like bullet sponges.
Hmm.
Like it's 20. Well, it's like 5. And again, I could become my mind could be failing me, so don't judge me. It's the mission starts or the raid or whatever, and it's 5 minutes of getting from point A to point B, which is the boss.
Hmm.
And then once you spend the 5 minutes getting to the boss, then it's 25 minutes of shooting this dude, and then different parts of the map changing as you knock off bits of health and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And kind of what you said, some icky goo can happen. He'll call in acolytes, other
Yep,
little
yep.
enemies that will distract you. They'll make you swear. It's frustrating. It's a great time. And yeah, I've
Ye-
that's the extent of my raid experience.
So yeah, the first part is very similar to WoW. There's the raids in WoW are always usually they have more than one boss. There are some raids that come out that only have one, and they're usually like in between major patches, like kind of like tide you over for another big patch of content. But usually there's a large raid with anywhere from 8 to 12 bosses. You go and in between the bosses are regular enemies that you have to kill your way through. Um, Now, what you said, like 20 to 25 minutes fighting a boss, that's really long. Like, even WoW's not that long.
Yeah, that's probably wildly inaccurate, but maybe not also. Haven't played in a while, but I think just due to the fact it might also depend on what level you are, what
Hmm.
level of gear you have and things like that. I could very well have been over exaggerating. And to that, I apologize. Also, I said exaggerating like a small child. So.
And to your other question that you asked about like
Yes.
specific players that go down first that you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, 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 yeah.
everyone, and here's just it's a video I watched that kind of explained this well. Everybody has different boundaries when they're playing a game. Like
Okay.
they reach the point where they've learned at different paces. So some people are slower than others. Um, I'm certainly not the fastest, but I wouldn't say I'm the slowest either.
Fastest as far as like attacking and defending and things like that, or responses, or what exactly do you
I
mean by
think
that?
I meant like fastest as in the quickest to learn, like to stop making
Learn. Okay,
mistakes. Because
gotcha.
in fights on mythic difficulty, if you stand in that puddle I talked about, you're just dead. You're gone.
The
Like,
icky goo.
right, there's no like, oops, I took some damage. I better not do that again. No, if you make even the slightest mistake, you're done. And
Mm,
that's what's so difficult is because since we need all 20 people alive, if even one person makes a small mistake, we all pay for it. So
right.
it becomes this thing where you can get frustrated when some people are making the same mistakes over and over, but you just have to understand that they just have different paces that they learn than you do, and um, it's different. There's always going to be one person who's the slowest at it, and you have to wait until they get there, and then you kill the boss. But not every fight's that way. Some fights are more forgivable, and you can lose someone and still kill it. So
Last question in regards to this:
yeah,
have you ever had to like have you ever lost a raid in the group and then you had to have like a come to Jesus moment with one of the team members and be like, "Yo, we gotta drop you."
So yes, I personally have never had to make that decision.
I
Um,
love it.
I'm not in
What a way
the
to ruin relationships.
right. So now, if it was like a heroic guild, which is basic, heroic is one of the difficulties. It goes
Sure.
um, LFR or looking for raid. That's the lowest. You can queue into it. It's just roll your face on the keyboard and you'll kill everything. It's really easy.
Like a quick play kind of thing.
Right. It's for the people who just want to see the content but don't want to actually try. It's
Me.
right. It's very very easy. And you also don't need a group for it. You just can solo queue it and you'll be put with random players. Then there's normal, which is it used to be what the normal was supposed to be, but it's too easy nowadays. It's like it's the second lowest. So if LFR was like beginner, then there's easy for normal, and then heroic is kind of like the medium or the hard difficulty. And it's pretty challenging on certain bosses at first, but eventually you can just get this amount of gear and power and just steamroll it. And
Sure.
if you're a decent player, it won't be any problem for you. Then
Hmm.
Mythic, which was only added a couple of expansions ago. So like the first like 5 or 6 expansions, it wasn't even a thing, right? 4 or 5 or something. And it's the hardest by far. And
Hmm.
it has these types of fights where everybody has to be on the ball at all times to kill the boss. Not every fight's going to be like that, just by the nature of design and balance. But so yeah, we've had to drop players before, um, though our guild usually, as long as I've been in it, doesn't drop people for just making mistakes, right? Unless it's like they're not willing to learn. They blame other people for their problems. They're not helping the team. There's always people like that. And in that
Sure.
case, like it's clear they're not going to improve because they're not willing to admit that they made a mistake. So
These
we got to
these
let them go.
these are life complications that go far and beyond into the rest of the
Yes,
world.
yes.
We're getting into some deep.
Well,
Anyway, hey,
well,
how about go ahead?
I mean, it does happen like that. Multiplayer cooperative games. I mean, we're dealing with real people here, so you deal with real people problems.
You have to communicate.
Yes,
You
yes,
have to
yes.
work as a team. You have to have the tough conversations.
Hmm.
You have to. But a more important thing, Star Wars Squadrons.
Yes, I've played it.
You're playing it. You played it before. You
Mhm.
told me you played it, and you said it was like an hour of gameplay. I'm assuming you've had more since then.
A little bit more, yeah. I've been really busy, so. Um, but
Oh,
it's actually,
oh,
it looks beautiful.
I've heard that
Yeah,
more than once from a variety of different sources. So that's encouraging.
yeah, it's incredible. I mean, I know that like it's designed for people to play the multiplayer first.
Have you tried the multiplayer yet?
A couple of missions. I'm not very good.
Is it just like are they just like dogfight modes where it's like maybe protect this ship and kill each other, or what are
That's the
modes
one
there?
I did. I think there's other modes. I need to experiment more with it, but I'm sure there's more. Like destroy, like each team has a ship to protect. Because in
Hmm.
the campaign, I mean, it's kind of fun. Do you ever play the original Battlefront 2?
Yes.
So you know the space battles where the big flagship would have like certain systems on it you could target, and if you
Yep.
and you
They
could
have like different
disable.
turrets and crap.
Right. So you do that in the campaign, and I'm assuming you do it in the multiplayer too, where you can target them and bomb them. And the new Battlefront 2 space battles had that too on certain fights where you're disabling bits of a ship. And it does. I mean, you can help your team in a lot of ways. You can destroy all those turrets on the Star Destroyer, and then it's not shooting at you guys anymore. And so everyone has, and you can play like a bomber and just do that the whole game if you wanted to.
Hmm. I've heard a lot of I've heard a lot of good things about this one, and it was kind of a I don't remember how much we went into it previously, but there was potential for it to be um crap, I guess.
Hmm.
Well, because it's a $40 price tag as far as US dollars, and it has a campaign. From what I've heard, it's what, probably 4 to 8 hours ish, I think. So not like this massive experience, but I think one of the biggest concerns, as I suppress a hiccup, was that it was just going to be, EA was just taking the dogfight mode from Battlefield and Battlefront, and then just selling that as its own game. And from what I've heard, is that that's not the case. Is there's enough? Obviously, there's enough systematically in the gameplay and the experience that sets it apart from just a, copy and paste from
Hmm.
the publisher's previous entries.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some inspiration, and I'm sure they were able to take assets from Battlefront 2's space battles.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
but it's so much more in depth, and you can just ignore that in the campaign and just click and fire lasers. You don't have to know all the strategies, but you can do like which this is going to anger some, especially Chris. The thing
Uh-oh.
that Poe does, Poe Dameron, where he just like drifts his fighter in space. In I think
Which one?
I think it's Last Jedi at the very beginning. He does like this
Oh,
drift around
oh,
the
oh, yeah,
Star
yeah,
Destroyer.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So first of all, not would not be possible in real life, but he does
Well,
that.
it's Star Wars.
Right, right. It just looks so weird, like
Right.
he's in air or something. Well, anyway, you can do that. There's a couple combinations of buttons, and you can drift your fighter. So if someone's following you, you can just spin around and start shooting at them. And
Oh, so you can do like a James Bond um driving the car, and then you like pull the brake, the power brake or whatever, and you
mhm,
turn around and start shooting at them. Is that what you're kind of talking about?
yeah, you can do that.
Interesting.
So dogfights are if someone's good at the game, which I mean, when you're flying around in multiplayer, you're going to find a couple people who just are. You're not taking them down. In fact, even if you're
Sure.
following them, you're the one who's in their sights. Like it, which I mean, it rewards skillful play for sure. And there's definitely more. Like your ship has a level of power. You have your engines, your weapons, and your shields. Unless you're flying a
Right.
TIE fighter, then you don't have shields. And you can dedicate the power to either one of those. Like I want full
Right.
power to engines, you'll go faster. I
And you have to actively choose, right?
Right.
You have to actively choose which way power is going.
You'll have a button for each, and then you'll also have a button for balance. You just want it to all be even.
Hmm.
So in a fight, and you also, with a shielded fighter, can choose, I want more power to the rear shields if you're being chased. And so your front shields will be weakened and your back will be strengthened. So if you really want to be in depth in it, you can control everything. And like if you're quick enough, oh, here comes people from the side. Better turn on my side shields. Oh, I need to
Hmm.
go faster to dodge this. And then, and the campaign slowly teaches you all this stuff as you move through it. And
Sure.
so it definitely helps you to do that. There's a lot you can do with it, and it's pretty accurate to the timeline of the story and to the actual canon and like
And this is taking place after Endor, right? Or part of it is?
right after Endor, and then like the form like before Force Awakens is the timeline before in between 6 and 7, but closer to 6, I think.
So you're having a good time. Good times overall.
It's fun. It looks beautiful and it sounds beautiful, which I mean, Battlefront 2 had that same thing going for it. And this one seems to not be buggy like Battlefront 2 was on release. So
You got to have a few bugs just to lighten the mood, you know? Do you agree? Do you agree with that?
well, they're never going to get every bug. That's
Goodness. Crud. Oh, crud. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. So there's so I'm not sure if we mentioned this in previous chats, with the Xbox Game Pass fame, EA Play is getting rolled into that as well with no extra cost. Did we talk about that?
so you're going to get Game Pass and EA Play for the same price?
Correct. And so with that, presumably, Star Wars Squadrons is on EA Play, and so that's probably going to be involved as well. So if that's the case, I will gladly dip my toe into this specific game.
It's definitely worth playing through the campaign at the very least, even if you're not going to play
Sure.
multiplayer often, because
Yeah.
it looks good. It's definitely slower paced in the first few missions because they're trying like they're just, oh, look how beautiful this game is, and you're flying
Right.
around ships and nothing's really happening. But I mean, I enjoyed that part too.
Well, and it's great just to be able to enjoy those moments when that's such a big part of the property in the game, Star Wars in space,
Mhm.
and not to always have to be shooting things.
Mhm.
I don't know. This is just my late night thoughts.
And one last
Um,
thing about Squadrons before we move
Do it.
on,
Do
they
it.
announced no DLC at all for it.
I heard that today. How does that make you feel? Do
So
you care?
I mean, good and bad. I guess like kind of sad that there's not going to be new content. Like maybe add Republic and Separatist
Sure.
era and all that stuff, and maybe add more maps and more campaign missions. But I don't know. Maybe that'll change if they make enough money off of it. But if it's just free on EA Play, I don't know how much they're making. On it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, and the other thing I heard, and literally I heard this morning, as far as that the no DLC. another interesting perspective is that it currently is only $40, so
Mhm.
it's not technically a full priced game, and so justifiably or not, if it was a $60 price tag, maybe that would have justified putting the time, efforts, and resources into creating, DLC and extra content and stuff like
Mhm.
that on EA.
Yeah, I agree. I think though that knowing EA, they'd still be putting out the DLC for a price anyway, even if it was $60 originally, I,
Listen, you have to buy the loot box, okay?
and then have priced loot boxes too on top of that.
It's so good.
I mean, I know they're making a fortune off of it. I just wish that they back off a little bit on the greed.
I don't know, man.
Games
I
are
don't
for
know.
fun.
Wrong. R. All right. So let's quit messing around. I told you. Why does my mom is texting me such intense life questions right now as I'm trying to look at my notes? So I got a hold of you early in the week,
Yes, you did.
as I was putting together my notes for this episode, and I said, "Lo, I have depressing news and depressing things to share." So as we kind of wade into this, I have, let me count one. I'm not even going to count. It doesn't matter. I have several announcements that you and others that are listening may or may not have already heard as far as delays
Hmm.
in the upcoming films slate. Either movies that were coming out at the end of this year or, next year, because there's been a lot. There's been a lot of delays happening. It's very sad. And so I've written several and two down that I'd like to share with you and get initial reactions. Again, some of them you may have heard and some not. I don't have any more information than just when they've been delayed to, supposedly, and stuff like that. So how do you feel? You feel good?
I'm ready. Let's get it.
You shouldn't feel good because this is really sad, but do you feel good besides that?
Yeah, I feel fine.
Okay. All right. So why not start off with a banger? The Batman. Have you heard?
I have not actually.
The Batman delayed until 2022.
Wow,
Oh,
that's huge. Why
oh.
2 years?
Brother Chris is in his chair just laughing at us right now, scoffing away, making sparkly vampire boy jokes to himself.
I mean, jokes on them. Watch COVID just end in like March of next year, and then
I don't what a bigger conversation that is.
hey, all right, wear your
Oh, I
mask.
don't disagree.
Wear your masks, everyone, so we can watch movies sooner.
Hello. Well, yeah, and so obviously, I can't remember if I said this before I said the Batman, but all of these are more or less solely contributed to the pandemic and all of that, rightfully
Hmm.
so. Everyone's at home doing God knows what. So the Batman delayed till 2022. Real shame because we got that first teaser trailer, and boy, did it really set my loins ablaze, if I may be so crass. Next on the list, yeah, this one, Dune. Have you heard?
I have not.
Dune delayed until October 1st, 2021.
Okay, so it's not as much of a delay. Now, as
It
much as
does.
I want to see that, it actually gives
I
me the time to go
know.
back and reread the books because
Yeah,
I only ever read the first one and it was in high school, so it's been a while.
I think that's all you'll need to read for this one. And also, I have it, so if you want to snag it, I can do that for you.
It's a deal because
Oh, a
then,
deal.
then I don't have to
Goodness.
order it. I don't know what I have for
I
you in
also have.
exchange.
Well, I took all of your 7 Harry Potter books for a while, so
There you
that'll
go.
be the transaction. There we go. I have it right here as I show you the camera that no one else can see. So yeah, Dune delayed. That one's a bummer because we had the full-fledged trailer for that one. Boy, did it look cool in my humble opinion. Boy, did I just finish the book, and boy, do I maybe remember half of it, but I did enjoy it nonetheless.
Hmm.
And I think a big part of this list and a good conversational piece is that when it comes to Dune specifically, if I'm remembering correctly, that movie is done.
Yeah.
Dune is done as far as like it's been filmed, it's cut. I believe, I could be completely wrong, but to my knowledge, it's packaged and ready to be shipped. So postponing this specifically, pretty much a year from now, that's pretty much them just banking on that the world will be quote unquote normal, I guess, for lack of better words.
Yeah.
Not that it ever will be, but that's. Would you agree that has to be the mindset then?
Yeah,
Or
they just
any
want to
other
make.
thoughts?
I mean, yeah, they're obviously going to take a box office hit if they release it now. The theaters are reopening, but not everyone's going to feel comfortable going anyway. So
Yeah, well, and also we didn't talk about this. Tenet, Christopher Nolan's Tenet came out a few weeks ago, I think. That came out in theaters, and I can't remember the box office thus far. But obviously, Christopher Nolan, not a small name.
hmm
He's done some stuff. I think he's going to make a name for himself. And so they were not necessarily banking on this making the millions, especially in these times. But I think them actually making the green light call and say, "Hey, put Tenet out now," was a prime chance for everyone else to say, "Okay, let's see what happens. Are people going to go out and see, a Christopher Nolan film in these times? And if they
hmm
are, then maybe we'll put ours out. And if not, we'll postpone it until October 1st of next year."
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't remember what the box office was for Tenet, but I'd like to see it. Just haven't done it. Haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how comfortable I feel going to a theater. I mean, that's like, I'll go to a place where there's like 10 people tops and stuff, and I've done that. But if you're going to a place with 50 plus 100 people, the odds of you catching something are just increased.
Sure.
Not that our area even has a problem with it, really. I mean, it's pretty subdued here. We might even have our lockdown
Yeah.
removed soon, maybe. So I don't. I mean, it's not too bad here, but still. I mean, I'm just gonna wait and see how things go before I make any
Sure.
decisions. It's the same with like
Absolutely.
the vaccine and everything. Like, I'm just gonna let the first wave of people take it and then stay at home and
Right.
see what
See
happens.
if they grow a third and fourth arm and have conversations after that.
Wait like a month
And
after that and
yeah,
take it myself.
and not to get too carried away, but I've been seeing other headlines and stuff, especially when it comes to the film industry, and I saw a headline that more or less posed the question: is the movie going experience, are movie theaters going to become extinct because of this? I mean, like you said, don't feel comfortable going out yet. Totally fine. That's everyone's decision, obviously. In the meantime, theaters have been making, you know, some have opened and they've done the, okay, no more than 10 or 15 people in the
hmm
theater at a time. Obviously, seats are spaced out, sanitized, all that stuff. So if that does it for some people, then, go out and do it and be safe. And if not, stay home, all that stuff. Yeah, just the thought of like this really putting a nail in the coffin of movie theaters makes me a sad boy.
I think the bigger theaters will be fine. I mean,
Sure,
the one in our area is a Marcus, and
it is.
they're a chain, so I feel like they'll be okay in the grand scheme of things. I know they're going to be hurting; it's going to be tight, but I don't know. Theaters make money anyway. I think
Yeah.
it'll be okay as long. I mean, even with a vaccine, they're saying it comes out this year, but even with or without it, we're always going to have COVID, just like we always will have the flu forever.
Hmm.
And eventually, I don't want to say hype, but the fear around it will die
The
down.
hype, the COVID hype.
I mean, because
Everyone's about it.
we can't just like postpone everything and say, okay, we're never doing anything again because of COVID. I know some people are
That's
of
what
that
you
opinion.
think.
Eventually, people will get over it and we'll go back to normal lives again. Especially when the vaccines come out. I mean, that's only going to make people more comfortable, and I think it'll be okay at that point. Especially if we've got like an entire 2 years full of movie releases that like basically,
Oh my
because if you
gosh,
take
dude.
all of 2020's releases and they're just going to shove it to 2021 and 2022,
All right. Yeah. You're
we
you're getting ahead of me. There's plenty of more. There's plenty of more. Yeah, there's plenty more to come. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but also this list is long, so I'm gonna we gotta go, man. We gotta go. So only a few of these movies were supposed to come out this year. Dune, I believe, was supposed to come out either next month or in December of this year, I
Mhm.
think. So that's gone. Next on the list is The Matrix 4 has been postponed until Christmas 2021. I think the original slate for Matrix 4 was earlier next year, but that was just obviously pushed a few months till Christmas. I often forget that Matrix 4 is happening,
same actually.
but I will make any excuse to see anything that Keanu Reeves is in
hmm
because I feel that he is a distant relative of some kind, even though that is not the true case. Any thoughts about The Matrix?
I have to admit, I didn't even know that was a thing. To be honest, um, I don't know. I just didn't hear about it.
How dare you?
I feel like I need to like do a big culling, if that's the right word, on all my social media and just restrict it
Col-
to like gaming and movie news places.
Gotcha. You said culling.
Yeah,
Okay.
because there's just too much crap I don't want to see right now,
There's
and
too much stuff.
I want my social media to just be a place where I get news, and right now it is not doing that for me. I've heard about some things, but
Sure. Ugh, sorry. All right. This next one is another ouchie. Another ooh that stings. You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
Um, I don't know why I had a weird out of body experience just now thinking about saying it out loud, which means that it's real, and then the way that it made me feel was not good. Black Widow has been delayed until has been delayed until 2021 with no definite date.
Yeah, I heard about that one.
So with that is also pushing back Marvel's The Eternals and Shang-Chi. And I think that both Eternals and Shang-Chi had release dates, but I think those are just to be announced as of now,
In the wind.
since Black Widow is being delayed for the foreseeable future. Ouch, man. Can we just watch Black Widow?
Yeah,
Can we have
I'm
it?
sure it's done.
Oh, it's definitely done. Oh yeah. I feel confident, even more so than Dune. I feel confident in saying that Black Widow is done.
Mhm.
They're waiting, man. They're waiting. And again, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to sound like I know it all. I'm passionate. I'm passionate about the
Movies.
I'm passionate about the movies. No, because again, as we've previously discussed, Disney put out Mulan, their live action remake,
Mhm.
strictly through Disney Plus, their streaming service. And again, kind of like Tenet releasing out in the wild in the COVID times, we can only assume that Mulan was Disney's guinea pig in, okay, let's see how much traction we get by only releasing this film through Disney Plus, with an extra paywall and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But man, I don't know. I think if we're going to compare Mulan and Black Widow, correct me if I'm wrong. If we took the same model that they did for Mulan, which was, okay, you have to have a Disney Plus subscription of some kind, and then, okay, you're going to have to pay another $30 to, watch Mulan on Disney Plus, to more or less substitute as a, movie theater ticket price. I think a lot more people would go in on Black Widow than Mulan. I don't have any numbers or statistics. I don't say that for any other reason than just Marvel hype.
Mhm.
Because I think a lot of people are fatigued with the live action remakes of Disney films. Could be wrong. What do you think? Am I just rambling?
Yeah, I don't know. Live action Disney.
It's all frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, live action Disney movies in general just they lack the same charm that the animated ones have.
There's no Mushu.
Okay, well that's another problem. All right,
I'm sorry.
Don't get me
Keep
on
going.
that rant.
No, keep talking.
Black Widow was something I was really excited about. I personally
I'm
think.
still excited about
Yeah,
it.
I am. But Black Widow should, first of all, Black Widow should have been a movie before the first Avengers.
All right, easy, killer.
Look, I need to talk to the Russo brothers and give them a piece of my mind.
Oh goodness.
So yeah, I mean, I'm surprised it's after Endgame, and I know it's a prequel, and I know what happened to her in Endgame or in Infinity War, whatever. I know all that stuff.
No spoilers.
But still, I'm just surprised that they decided to release it at the end of Endgame, and then it's just unfortunate that everything happened, and their grand plan can't happen anymore. It's sad.
It is sad, and yeah. It's a fickle business, the movie industry, and all entertainment, really. Money. It's all about money. It's all about money, and it makes me sad and mad, but also money. I gotta pay my bills too. So anyway, Eternals and Shang-Chi are pushed back. We've gotten some set photos of both and cool little tidbits there, so those will still be cool to hear more about as they come out. Next, you ready? You still with me? You still feeling good?
I'm still with you.
Holy cow. James Bond, No Time to Die. Daniel Craig's final film is James Bond, delayed until 2021. So next year. I think that would have already been out by now, if I'm remembering correctly.
Probably.
It was supposed to be this year. And geez, man, it might have been either this month or last month. I can't remember. It was either between last month and the end of this year, the release window originally. Have you seen any of his James Bond films?
Yes, I've seen the first one, and then I saw another one. I don't remember. They all have those strange names. I don't remember what the other one I saw was, but they're both Daniel Craig Bond movies.
Yeah. So there's Casino Royale,
I've seen that one.
Quantum of Solace,
No.
Skyfall.
That that sounds familiar.
It's pretty good.
Mm.
And then there's Spectre,
Doesn't
I
sound
think.
familiar.
And then this is No Time to Die. You know what's bizarre is that Daniel Craig has been James Bond for 15 years ish.
That seems weird because it seems like he's new still.
Isn't that bizarre? I'm pretty sure Casino Royale came out in 2005.
Yeah,
around there.
That's weird. That's very weird.
That is weird. He still looks good. He's good looking. He still got the, you know?
Hmm. I mean, Bond's always an older gentleman, like not old, but 30s.
Distinguished.
Yeah.
How about that?
Mature.
All right. We're blasting through. We only got 2 more left. How did that happen, right? Time is but a made-up construct. Let's get this one out of the way. So Jurassic World Dominion, the third entry in Chris Pratt's beloved Jurassic World franchise, has been delayed until 2022.
Still haven't seen the second one yet.
Really?
I saw the first Jurassic World. I liked it. Just hadn't gotten around to see the second one yet.
Have I seen? I have seen the second one. It's fine. You should watch it if you can watch it for free somewhere.
Chris Pratt and dinosaurs. What can go wrong?
Right. A lot of things. This is the movie where it goes wrong, actually. No, it's good. I think there were some mixed reviews just as far as plot is concerned. And just kind of like, oh, that was a decision that they made.
I don't watch dinosaur movies for plot. Just gonna put that one out
You know
there.
what? That's the correct answer. You did well. Yeah, so 2022. Did we already talk about they put out that freaking Netflix animated show for Jurassic World? We talk about that?
I don't think we did.
Crud, what's it called? Oh, it's called Camp Cretaceous. It's an animated show. I think it's directed toward kids, but I've heard adult men talk about it on other podcasts, and they're like, it's good. So there's that. I think it takes place during Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, which is the second entry, where things start to go a little awry. Not that I would spoil anything.
I'll have to go see the movie. Seems like a pretty nice watch.
I have very strange memories of seeing the original Jurassic World in theaters like 5 years ago.
Why strange?
Because it makes me remember the person I was and the people I was with.
Well, they say, and I don't know how true this is, but they say that every 5 years you're a different person. Like that's the time frame it takes to totally change.
I hope so. And I hope they're different people too, if I may say.
Yeah, I was definitely different 5 years ago, not like drastically or anything, but we all change.
You know what I like to think about?
What?
I like to think about, so I'm married to your sister, in case you forgot.
I totally forgot.
I like to think about certain like stages of my life and the things I was doing just in general. And then I like to imagine what she was doing at that point in time.
Do you want to know?
No, I don't, but it's just a fun little mind game that I play with myself, and then I don't like it after a few seconds of thinking about it, and then I move on. Anyway.
There's that stage where she was watching Freaky Friday like 10 times a day.
Stop. That's private information.
Hey, everyone has a movie they binge watched.
Oh my God.
For some reason, I'm trying to remember which one it is. I remember watching was it Flubber? It might have been Flubber.
With freaking Robin Williams
Yes.
famed Flubber?
I think I saw that one very often as a kid.
Wow.
And in the movie Dinosaur, speaking of Jurassic World.
I know Dinosaur.
Yeah, that movie. I think I watched that one a lot. So, I mean, we all have a Freaky Friday in our lives. We all
I'm trying to think of my Freaky Friday.
That's a term now.
Yeah, it sure is. My brother and I watched Empire Strikes Back a lot, but also I'm pretty sure that it wasn't just that one. It's probably all 3 of those.
Mhm.
But for some reason, I remember Empire specifically.
Yeah, I
Um,
guess I just never counted it, but I did watch like all the Star Wars movies and the Lord of the Rings trilogy over and over
yeah.
again.
Oh yeah, yeah. Lord of the Rings too. Man, there had to have been something more easygoing. Um, yeah, I tell you what, I don't remember exactly how old I was during this period, and then we'll get to the last movie on this list. I promise. We ended up getting like it was either I don't remember how it worked, either season one or the complete series of like the 1960s Spider-Man cartoons. 1960s is probably the wrong number, but do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like the meme of the two Spider-Man pointing at each
yeah.
other, like that era of Spider-Man cartoons at a garage sale. We got it like from a friend's garage sale, and we watched the heck out of those. Like we would fall asleep to those, and you know the cheesiness of it all, and it's just pleasant.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure we sold those at a garage sale, and now I'll be forever bummed. But
Sure, it's all on the internet somewhere. Someone has it.
everything, everything is always on the internet. All right, let's smash this last one here. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So, Josh, you fool, you ignoramus! You thought we were gonna get out of this list without mentioning a DC movie? What were you thinking?
Apparently, not
Um,
at all.
yeah, apparently so. So we talked about this a few weeks ago during the DC Fandom event. Black Adam. Uh, what's his name? Dwayne. I was gonna call him Chris the Rock Johnson. I'm thinking of your brother. I don't know why. Dwayne the Rock Johnson's Black Adam has been taken off of Warner Brothers' schedule amid yet another COVID-19 reshuffle. That's exactly what I quoted from the article. And I don't think it has a specific date right now.
Yeah, I think that's probably the smartest move. Just instead of just pushing it back. I mean, there's a
Right.
chance if it's still going on in a year, which I mean, please no. But if it
Oh
is,
my, yeah, I don't know,
then
man. Ugh.
then they'll just have to push it back again. So we'll see.
Yeah. So yeah, it's taken off, um, which sucks, man. Wait. So also, I want to take a second and apologize to you for what I said about calling you a fool and an ignoramus because I told the first freaking movie I mentioned was the Batman, which is in DC. So I apologize. I just got ahead of
How
myself.
could
I
you
wanted to
call
crack
me
a
a
joke.
fool?
I wanted to make fun content. It's all I want to do.
Well, just when we
Um,
play that new board game, I'll just focus you first, kill you off.
that's the haunted house, indeed.
Speaking
Yeah. So that.
of,
Oh no, what's up?
well, we got a new board game,
You got the new board game.
Betrayal at the House on the Hill. I think that's how
That's
you
it.
say it, and it looks really fun. I think
I think. Good.
I think you'll like it. I think Sarah will like it. I think my parents will like it. It says it's a strategy game, but I don't really see that. I mean, it's more of like a semi-cooperative. There's one bad guy kind of game, and you're moving through a haunted house and trying to survive. I think that's it.
So I think we mentioned this. We may or may not have mentioned this again a few weeks ago, only because they're past conversations. When we've talked about board games and stuff, from what you've been talking about, and obviously neither of us have played it. It kind of sounds like a Clue kind of vibe.
In a way, it's like Clue on steroids. I think would probably be a
Yeah,
good explanation.
Clue for the daring. How about that?
Yeah. So based on the rules that I've read so far, everyone picks a character to be, and they've got little miniatures, and you move through the haunted house, and it's randomly generated every game. So there's floor tiles, and as you move through it, more are placed in front of you. So it's different every game. Which part of the problem we were having is while we liked the games we were playing, we would play them every time we got together, and we got kind of
Yeah,
old with some of them,
yeah.
like Chameleon and stuff like that.
And if I may, really quick, I'm not sure if that was just like, hey, let's play it to death, so much as it was, hey, we've played this last time and it was fun and easygoing for the most part. Let's do it again.
Hmm. And I
Yeah,
mean, it is a fun game. I mean, I liked Chameleon. It's just we played it 30 times, and
30.
that's I guess that's a testament to how good it was. But we should have probably alternated it with something else to make it last longer. And we'll probably come back to it once we've given it a good enough break. But I think I'm just gonna order some board games. If we like this one, I'll order more like it. If not, I'll pick a different genre. We'll find stuff we like. We'll find stuff we don't, and we'll have a better library to play with.
Yeah, I would like to. Um, sorry, don't mind me. I'm texting during the podcast. I
Illegal.
would the ultimate cardinal sin. Um, I would like to get into. I'm not sure if I told you this. I'd like to play more of crap. What is it called? Settlers of Catan. I know
Yeah.
that's by now that's a game as old as dirt or whatever, but I talked with some friends a little while ago, and they told me I think I might have told you this too. They told me a revelation of how like apparently their whole family's into it,
Hmm.
and I reminisced to that one time that you, me, and cousin Jake played it, and I was like that was a fun time, but I feel like I need to play with people that are more my skill level so that I have room to fail, room to cry, shoulders to cry on, and not
Well, I
I
don't.
don't
I
know.
really know if we're different skill level than you. I mean, that was actually the first time I'd played it too. I mean, I played it
Was it
once
really?
before when I was younger,
Yeah, there it is. There it
but I
is.
mean, no. I mean, it's the same for me. Whereas it's a trading game, right? So you make decisions; they don't always work out. I haven't played it near enough. Like, I guess at some point when you're playing a game a lot, you start to see the meta. Like this is the best strategy. This is what works more.
Right.
I haven't played it near enough. And since the game is random in a lot of ways, sometimes what you think is a good play, and then the bandit gets you, and it's like, oh, well,
Goodness.
I just lost all my resources or whatever. And there's so many expansions for it. So if you get bored of the
Right.
original, you just get one of those, and then you'll have a fresh experience.
We probably have discussed this, but what is the content of those expansions? Are they just locations? Are they resource cards, or what's the
I
context?
think each one adds like a different, like extra rules, like a new system to add into the game, but still keeping the same foundation from the last one. And then, different maps, different resources. Um, So yeah, it definitely changes some things, but it's mostly the same game. But there's just some like in this game instead of a bandit, we have I don't know if there's I haven't played any of them, but based on the explanations on Google, it seems like they don't change too much, but enough to keep it fresh.
Talking about expansions for board games and card games, apparently, and this is not new news in any sense, uh, there are expansions for Cards Against Humanity.
Hmm.
And doth my eyes betray me? I'm pretty sure I saw an Avengers add-on pack for Cards Against Humanity.
Avengers.
Yeah, and so the more I thought about it, I'm like, my interest is piqued because obviously they're probably just going to be very inappropriately themed cards, including the Avengers, to play during Cards Against Humanity.
Hmm.
But that kind of sounds like a good time. I don't know. It could go either way. I don't know. I
Ev-
don't know.
Everyone with innocent ears, close your ears. The game is actually really fun,
It
despite the
is.
fact that there are some inappropriate
It's
cards.
crass. Very
It's as
crass.
crass as your group is. But you know what?
Oh.
Get it out in the card game and then go pray and you'll be okay.
Wow,
I
goodness.
was wa-
What a recipe for
I was
success.
watching this movie with my dad the other day. It was a football movie, and I don't remember the name. I just joined him
Was
mid
it
movie.
30-yard mile or whatever?
I don't know. It's an older movie.
Okay.
But anyway, so in the movie, the coach like starts just screaming curse words at his team because they're losing over and over, like all kinds of horrible stuff. And then right as he ends, he goes, "And let's pray." And then they all get on their knees and start praying. It's just like it's a vibe right there.
Oh yeah. Hey man, sometimes you just gotta let them fly and get the deed done, and
Then let Jesus in afterwards.
well, just set your heart right. He
Gotta
knows.
repent.
He knows what's going on.
But
That's funny.
no, I mean that game's fun. It's a lot of laughs. So I have the base version. I don't have any of the expansions, but I know that there's a lot of them. So I mean, just if you get bored of the cards and you've seen them all before, get the expansion.
Has your slash our parents played that game by chance?
No, definitely not. They played Apples to Apples, which is like the tame
Okay.
version.
Nope. 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 Don't even put that. Don't even speak it. Don't even speak it.
Had a
How
bad
do you
experience
think?
with
How do you
Apples to
think?
Apples.
No, it's such a far cry from the papa of the real genre. How do you think that would go? How do you think that they would play the cards close to their chest, or do you think they'd let them fly?
Well, I think
Because
I don't know. They probably just wouldn't enjoy the crassness, but if maybe if they were playing with I don't know, if they were just playing with some friends and not like family, they might be more willing to play the game.
you want to know what? And as we're, oh my gosh, I'm only gonna say this because she doesn't listen to this. My mom, dude. My mom. Uh, I haven't played Cards Against Humanity with her specifically, but do you know who Jeff Foxworthy is?
Yes.
Of course you do. Psh. He put out a game, I think it's relatively recently, called Relative Insanity. Have you heard of it?
That actually sounds familiar. I think I saw like a YouTube video of it.
Yeah, it's more or less Cards Against Humanity, but the whole context and theme of all the cards is based on mothers, fathers, aunts and uncles, cousins, grandparents, stuff like that.
Hmm.
And all the situations have to do with relatives. And then you play it as though it's Cards Against Humanity, and it's pretty clean, but there are it's I'm not sure how much you're aware or aware of Jeff Foxworthy and his humor or whatever, but there are some cards that are more like, oh, it's gross, therefore it's kind of funny and whatever. And I've played that with my mom, and she's played some. She gets out there, you know. She said she's won a match with some pretty breathtaking cards. So I'll say all that to say I can't imagine. Yeah, I can't imagine the aftermath and of what our relationship would look like after Cards Against Humanity.
I mean, it's like those cards, but it's the entire game. It's Cards Against
Yeah,
Humanity.
yeah.
But
I
you know
mean,
what? You
yeah.
just have to lower your inhibitions. It's like you're watching Game of Thrones. You just have to like set the bar lower for what you can take, and then just go for it. Because there's going to be some things in there that might not be the most comfortable to watch, but it's just the way it is.
I had a friend tell me recently that either they got HBO. Oh no, they got HBO Max from like a new phone deal or whatever that they got, and so he's going through Game of Thrones for the first time.
Hmm.
And he was saying he's enjoying it and all that stuff. And I don't think we've ever talked about it on here, but my experience with Game of Thrones, as we quickly close this podcast, let's just talk about Game of Thrones. I saw several episodes of season 1 a few years ago. Like I watched them on the internet. I'm not going to say how, but I watched a few episodes of season 1. There's a lot of stuff that happens in season 1.
Hmm.
There's a lot of stuff that happens in season 1. And at that point in time, I was like, I don't think I can do this right now. I don't think I can do this. So
Hmm.
I stopped watching it for a while. Um, and unless if I'm forgetting something, I quit watching up until last year when season 8, right? Season 8, the final season,
Hmm.
was announced, it's going to end or whatever. And so several years from that original experience, I was like, and you already know this part, I said, I'm going to watch a 25 to 30 minute YouTube video recapping seasons 1 to 7 and get that information. And then I'm going to watch season 8 in its entirety as it's coming out. And so that's what I did. And so last year, shout out to foreign intern Ollie, who doesn't listen, but you know him.
Hmm.
I watched it with him as it was coming out, season 8 last year. And although I didn't have, the 7 seasons of context or whatever to build to the final season, the general aura of lackluster and disappointment that surrounded season 8 that we don't need to get into a lot, left a taste in my mouth one way or the other. I don't necessarily think I have an opinion one way or the other, whether it was good or bad or blah, 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 blah. But when this guy told me that he was starting from the beginning, I had the flashbacks to watching season 8 last year, and when it ended, being like, man, if I was more invested in this, I think I would be frustrated.
Yeah, it was definitely upsetting. I don't actually think that's controversial, though. I think most people agree that it's pretty much a lit down. Um, to the point that there's even talks that they might just remake the last couple seasons.
Do you think that's gonna happen though in this point in time?
Well, now that COVID's a thing, probably not. But
Yeah, yeah. And I didn't mean to. I'm not being aggressive or anything. I mean, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I think just like with Last Jedi and or the last Hobbit movies, these movies that we were really passionate about and they came out and they weren't what we expected, I don't know what's happening. It's just like I feel like these directors are out of touch or something, but
Oh,
it's obviously not everyone working on the movies. I mean, the acting's good in a lot of them. The writing in some areas is good. The art and music teams are always good in all these areas. I just feel like it feels like a lot of letdowns in some of these movies in a row. Like we had the Hobbit movie. The Battle of the Five Armies had 6 eagles.
mm,
6? Like that's all you had to budget to animate. Anyway, I won't rant about them. But
well, yeah. As we close, I think a lot of that, and I think we have talked about that or things like this. The amount of studio and like administrative interference that probably goes on behind the
hmm
scenes. You know,
hint,
I'm
hint, Snyder, hint, hint.
well, yeah, and not that I know anything, but just you can only imagine,
Yeah,
the directions that are being required as you're writing the script or as you're filming the movie, the things that you for some reason or another don't have control over but are being asked to include. Yeah, I can't imagine, being in that creative position. That's why I'm not. That's
yeah,
why I'm here with you.
yeah. I definitely think for some of them, um, yeah, but in some of them they have creative freedom, and it's like this their decisions. Like the not Russo brothers, sorry, the D&D guys, the ones who did Game of Thrones, they did
Mm,
all of it right, and the first 5 to 6 seasons were stellar. I mean, they were great. I feel like there was probably too much raunchiness in the first couple seasons, but it started to go away, and it was just full of good content and twists, and it kept you excited and hyped. And then season 7 and 8 were kind of like, I don't like the conclusion to any of this, which I
it
understand.
was it was rather shocking.
Right. And I understand there's a lot of buildup. And so coming to a conclusion when the books aren't even written yet is hard. But you
Mm,
literally had the man right next to you. So it's not, he literally worked on the project. Like, you could have just asked Martin, we don't really know how to do this that won't like anger our entire fan base. So how about you come up with the ending for us? Like,
unacceptable. Not gonna happen.
and for Star Wars, I mean, it's a pretty easy formula. You just show some space
Easy,
battles and
easy.
we like it. And that's the thing. I just feel like a lot of these decisions were so obvious, even in hindsight. Like they just need to get like some uninvolved fans that just love the series and bring them in and say, "What do you think about this? Oh, you don't like it? Okay, we'll sign this NDA and we'll change it."
Listen, in the spirit of involving the fans, let's bring this plane to a close. Listen, we talked about delays, we talked about board games, we talked about the Snyder cut indirectly. We've had a full time. My tummy's full. Your tummy's probably full. So we're gonna get out of here. You can, Josh, I don't know if you know, but you can give us a rate. You can rate us on Apple Podcasts. I'm not sure if you can on Spotify or Google, but there's probably some way you can do that. Subscribe on Spotify, on iTunes, Google Podcasts. We're on YouTube as well. The videos go up. New episodes every Friday. That's the goal. That's our plan. I think that's the standard we hold ourselves to, as it is not a large one, but I think it's appropriately placed. Would you agree?
It is.
Hello.